Hey everybody, this is my 2006 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD Crew Cab. I'm going to be doing it's the output shaft seal from the transfer case. So the four-wheel drive side of the transfer case where the output shaft comes out to drive the four-wheel drive shaft. I'm going to be replacing that seal. Kind of some things I started noticing is just oil, ATF fluid all over the ground. Started slow, then it was leaking more and more. I had actually rebuilt this transfer case at one point in time, and I talk about that in the video. I did not do this seal at that time. I kind of knew it was going to be going bad. I just didn't have the seal when I was doing that job, and wanted to get out and finish my summer and go boating instead of rebuilding transfer case parts. So I'm doing that now, and I do the U-joints on that drive shaft. That'll be in another video, and I'll put the link to that at the bottom here. I'll do a brief intro on that one too, so that you guys kind of know what I was thinking when I went ahead and did that. So hope you like it. Alright, you gotta take those 4 bolts off. They are 11 millimeters. If you don't have the truck in four-wheel drive, this thing will turn. I actually don't. I just got lucky that one came off, but if you don't, you can either stick a screwdriver up in yaw, hang on to it, crank on it with your wrench, or put it in four-wheel drive. If you're doing what I'm doing and you've drained the transfer case, you really shouldn't be switching through gears. So I'll get the rest of these bolts out here. So just a tip, you don't have to do this. Honestly, it's a really good idea too, because if you have slightly misbalanced shaft, you get a moment mass of inertia as this thing rotates, and basically what that does, it creates a vibration. Think of a torque arm. You have a mass that's greater further away from the axis of rotation than the rest of the geometry, and that's not good on really the bearing coming out of your transmission, or sorry, differential, front differential. It's not good on your transfer case, output shaft, and bearing, and the gearing inside. Your U-joints as well will wear out prematurely. So here's what I do. Take a paint pen, bam, bam. Now I know the orientation of this U-joint before I take it out. As long as you do that on both, you're going to know exactly how it goes back together. Alright, now all you got to do, pull your shaft out. If it's tight in that spot right there, you can stick screwdriver. So you got to be very careful. You don't want these caps to come off. When those caps comes off, you're going to lose needle bearings all over the ground. And basically, you can either clean them up and try to line them back and put them back in there, or honestly, I'll just replace the U-joint if you do that. In order to do that, you have to press the joint out from the collar. This guy will press out. If you put enough force on it, an arbor press or something, just push that, hold the shaft steady, and it will push out. Basically, the cap will come off and needle bearings will fall out. You get the new one in is the opposite process. Yeah, so mine just pulls out. Surprisingly enough, with all of the snow we've had and all the four-wheel drive been doing. Ooh, I'm losing my mark here. It's, make sure you don't lose those. I seem to remember from last time this was difficult with this exhaust pipe, so I think you have to kind of rotate your differential until you can wiggle it out. It just takes some doing, so. But you can get it out with this exhaust pipe here. You just have to sit under here and wrestle with it for a good 30 minutes. Alright, someday I'll be able to afford a little bracket so I can like wear this on my head or something, but see, splines come out of the female spline end, and you just have to rotate the differential so it's oriented like that, and then you push the whole thing back into here, and then it comes out, and you just slide the whole thing out like that. See, it just comes out. Again, don't lose the caps. Alright, I have to apologize from before. I said that if you mess up these caps, here, I can show you what they look like very carefully. Ooh, don't take it that way. See those needle bearing rollers in there? They're just held in by the grease. So if you drop that, they scatter. Anyway. See that little dot? You see that right there? That is a plastic dowel pin that goes through these Chevy U-joints. You don't have to replace it with the same style, and I would not recommend it, because, I mean, who can inject a plastic dowel pin like that? But what you have to do, you got to heat up this collar. Get that hot enough, you'll see that the grease will start burning and boiling out of there. But this pin will grow, it'll expand and almost turn into like a foam jelly liquid type of substance, and it'll push itself out. At that point you can press this out. As far as I know, Chevy's the only manufacturer that does that. It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. First time I messed with one of those, I'd beaten my head against the wall, and I was like, you know what if I just heat it up? And it came out. So, helpful tip for anyone who doesn't have this job goes planned. And prying tools. So all I'm going to do is stick these screwdrivers back in here. I might have to get at them this way and hammer it back in there, but you want to be careful not to damage the inside surface of the transfer case here. If you do that, it's not going to seal properly. And I've never done this seal. I actually rebuilt this transfer case and I didn't have the seal, and I was tired of working on this, so I put it back together knowing the seal was going to go bad. $15 part, you can do it on the truck. I figured, deal with it when you get there. Go boating for the rest of the summer. So that's why I'm doing it now. Anyway, my plan is to pry at this. You can see, almost might be able to get that screwdriver in there. Might lubricate the shaft to facilitate it coming off. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna drill holes in the seal, very shallow, and screw some wood screws in there and try to make a puller and pull them out. So let you know how it goes. Alright, so after hammering on it here for about 5 minutes, dawned on me what a lot of mechanics will call this, what I'm trying to do is collapsing the seal. Well, this is a boneheaded move by me, because you collapse the seal when you don't have a shaft inside of it. Basically, you crush the seal down with a screwdriver to less than the outside diameter required to seal the housing, and it falls out with most seals. However, this shaft is in here, so it's very unlikely I'm going to be able to collapse it enough to do that. So I gotta regroup and figure out what I'm going to do here. Hey, hour later. That's what it's going to look like. Problem with this is you have a steel outer part of this seal that wants to, well, it compresses when you hammer it into place. When you, it's an interference fit, so it's meant to, be a little bit wider than the inside diameter of the opening, and when you push it in, it basically is a press fit, which creates a seal. There's rubber around the outside of this thing. That's what creates that seal anyway. There's an inside seal, so this is the opposite side of it. That was what we were looking at. This is now. In here you see there's a spring. That spring in there tightens this collar and the seal on that collar, mainly the seal to that collar, onto this ring, which fits onto the shaft. It's a lip seal. I mean, I kind of destroyed it, but there's normally a lip off the back of this, and I'll show you on the new one, but that's what seals the shaft. So that's the problem, is you're sealing the shaft and the inner bore of the housing. So you have both compressive forces on both the shaft and the inside diameter of the housing, which makes it really difficult to take off. So I got my welder welded a makeshift slide hammer together. If you don't have a slide hammer, which most people don't unless they exclusively work on vehicles, yeah, find some all thread. Really crappy vice grips. These ones are broken, so that's why I use that. Piece of PVC for me to hold on to, and really nice piece of flat stock. I wish I didn't have to use that, but oh well. So that's how you do it. Alright, so this is the new seal. It's kind of weird. Before I was saying it's a lip seal. It's actually not. It's a seal within a seal, so if I push on the back, see that center pops up? So that's the center seal. The outside ring is the outside seal. There you can see the spring. So I need to find something that fits this diameter and sits in here so I can hammer it on. So I'm going to go do that and get back to it. Alright, so first things first, there's the bearing in there. See the splines and the shaft. See that C-clip? I would verify that's there if anyone's trying to accomplish this job. Also, clean this surface. You don't want particles on there, pieces of metal, rubber, especially when you destroy the gasket, the seal, like I did. So, important part can usually be overlooked. I don't know, some people say that you should put a small coating of like a Permatex type of anaerobic gasket maker or something, silicone or something on the inside bore of that. I disagree with that. This seal is designed to seal without that. If it goes bad in the future, it's going to have a hell of a time getting it to seal again. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put the seal in as it's designed. There it is installed. What I used, PVC pipe on the inside for the outside seal part. I used oil filter wrench on the outside, one of those hard PVC styles. So I may have messed the seal up a little bit. You can see there's a bit of a raised portion. I don't know. I took my time pretty well on that thing, and don't really know what I could have done different besides go buy some specialized tools for putting it in. But yeah, just kind of alternating PVC pipe to push the inner one in, and then once you bottom that out, start pushing the outer ring in. Just alternate back and forth very, very slowly. Slow is key. So get the drive shaft installed here. It's kind of precarious right now, and that should do it. After, well, I'll have to put fluid in there, but once I do both of those things, should do it.